G'day everyone, Chris from Primac Sports here with the first of our Super Rugby weekly previews as we look ahead to the first week of the Super Rugby season about to kick off this Friday evening. We're here at Seabus Super Stadium, former home of the Gold Coast Sevens, with this first weekly wrap and preview of each of the games. First up guys, the Blues and the Highlanders in an all New Zealand affair, coming live from Auckland. Friday afternoon kickoff, 5:35 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. This stage, big surprises in the naming of the Blues side with Rene Ranger and Charlie Faumawina not named by new coach Tano Munga. However, look for Ohio West to make a big impact from number 10 for the Blues. It's a bit of a rebuilding phase of the Blues with Munga coming on board as coach and a few new signings there. I still think with the Highlanders side with Aaron Smith, Lima Sopuanga, Ben Smith, then Malachi Fekatoa and Waisaki Naholo out wide, they're going to be way too strong. Got the Highlanders winning this one by double digits, probably a 10 to 12 point winning margin over the Blues in Auckland. Second match of the Friday is the Brumbies hosting the Hurricanes in Canberra. Absolute blockbuster affair, two of the top sides for this season that go deep into the competition and may well both give it a shake come the business end of the year. There's certainly two strong lines, both featuring a number of international representatives from their respective countries. The Hurricanes, certainly the big point for me, will be interesting to see how the New Zealand Warriors star that's coming across the game. Lamape performs at inside centre. They do look a little weak in the midfield, the Hurricanes, and Lamape will be a big question mark that I have over their side, certainly in the early parts until he can prove himself. The Sonny Bill Williams sort of impact versus Benji Marshall coming into the rugby union scene. The Brumbies, meanwhile, they host a lineup that's their midfield strong as with guys like Lelia Fano, Matt Tamoa, then Tavita Kumadrani through the midfield, very strong there, and a lot of options and attacking options as well as defensive strengths. Be interesting to see the impact of their new Argentinian signing, Thomas Cabelli. Certainly going to be a strong player, and if he can repeat the sort of heroics that he put out in the World Cup, he'll certainly be a massive asset to the Brumbies squad. Up forward, there's some questions as well. Stephen Larkham's gone with keeping Scott Seo on the bench, so it'll be interesting to see the impact that he has once he comes on. Certainly was a absolute bookend for the Wallabies during the World Cup, so it'll be interesting to see him step up when he comes on and really try and reclaim that starting berth that he's missed out on for week one. I've got the Brumbies picking the Hurricanes here purely based on the fact that they've got the home ground advantage. The next matchup is the early hours of Saturday, 4 AM Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Have the Cheetahs hosting the new Argentinian side, the Jaguares. I mean, the Argentinian side's basically the Argentinian national side, minus a couple of players such as Cabelli and a couple of others that have moved on to other franchises. But in reality, they boast a huge number of test caps in their lineup, and I can't wait to see how Nicolas Sanchez turns his hand to Super Rugby. Up forward, they've got Augustin Creevy as captain. He's obviously a seasoned performer who's done really well for the Argentine national side. It'll be interesting to see how he turns his hand to now playing consistent Southern Hemisphere rugby. The big one for me though is Thomas Lavanini. He's a guy who really plays the game to the edge of the law book. He'll be entertaining to watch, he'll be physical, he's strong in the second row, and he's quite young still, he's only in his early 20s, so it'll be interesting to see how he performs going forward. Meanwhile, the Cheetahs, they've lost a number of players with Oosthuizen and LaRue leaving to go and join the Sharks. They're quite low on international caps across their squad. Their big strengths are obviously in the forwards. They've got Lou De Jager and Boone Prinsloo, who are both strong performers. There are some question marks over Prinsloo's health, but he should be able to take the paddock as named. Also looking forward to seeing their captain Francois Ventard at outside centre, with William Small-Smith, who's a great up-and-coming young South African kid. The partnership they develop could be very determining in regards to how the Cheetahs season goes on. I think the Argentinians will get the win first up and start their first ever Super Rugby campaign on the right start. Next up, 3:15 Saturday afternoon, the first of 6 consecutive games. They'll all be televised live on Fox Sport in Australia, and it's going to be an absolute bumper afternoon of Super Rugby. We see the new Japanese franchise, the Sunwolves. They host the Lions in what's an interesting affair for both teams. The Sunwolves probably won't get a better opportunity to chalk a win at any point during the season than their first game at home against a understrength Lions side who've lost a number of players, and again, similar to the Cheetahs, lack international experience. Certainly intrigued to see how the Japanese side performs. They've got a couple of international players in there to add to the Japanese side they already have. They are missing a number of the Japanese rotation. I'm intrigued to see a couple of players, certainly Ed Quirk has come from the Reds and joined them, see how he performs. And Thomas Leonardi, the Argentinian player as well, will also be strong, add some real impact to their forward pack. The Lions have certainly been dealt a pretty good hand with the draw. However, Warren Whiteley's going to have a lot of pressure on him as the out-and-out most experienced player and the captain of their side. He's an absolute superstar in his own right, but whether or not he can carry the team on his shoulders for the season certainly serves to be asked. I don't think he can. I think it's going to be too much pressure for Warren, and based on that I think they'll struggle a bit. I do think they'll manage to chalk a win here, but only just, and I wouldn't mind seeing what the Sunwolves have got to offer in their first up game and whether they'll play that attacking open rugby that the Japanese side took on the World Cup with. The second of the matches in the back-to-back lineup on Saturday, you've got the Crusaders hosting the Chiefs. Now this one, both these sides, a couple of question marks over them in regards to what they're going to offer this year. The Chiefs are going to be without rugby league import Sonny Bill Williams. Looks like he'll play sevens all season, and certainly will be a big loss. He plays quite well for them. They've got a couple of other players out of action. Crusaders, on the other hand, really going to struggle to replace the experience of Dan Carter and Richie McCall. I mean, Matt Todd's going to be an excellent replacement. He won't be a Richie McCall, but he'll certainly do a great job. Question mark over who fills that number 10 jersey in red is going to be huge. They're big boots to fill, and no one's going to be able to step up and fill them with playmaking or goal-kicking ability to the same level, let alone both. So I think they'll sorely miss Dan Carter. The Chiefs, on the other hand, they're very settled at 10. The addition of the Japanese World Cup prop Hiroshi Yamashita is going to be a good one to their depth, and certainly give them a few options in regards to what they can bring off the bench, especially after they lost Nepo Lalala. I mean, he's a great loss in an All Black player, but Yamashita will definitely step up. It'll be interesting to see whether, as I said, in that red 10, Ben Volavola will be the man to get the job done. As such, I've got the Chiefs getting the points here. I don't expect it to be an overly high scoring affair, and I think the Chiefs might get it done, probably by a converted try. Third up, we've got the original interstate rivalry from Australia, the Waratahs versus the Reds. The Reds obviously to dire straits. They've lost Horrible, Genia, Cooper, O'Connor, as well as a number of others, and haven't signed too many. I mean, they've certainly got Cater and Neville, who's an up-and-comer, and he'll be quite strong. And they've signed Ayuma Goromaru, as I alluded to previously, but I don't think he'll get a start in the first game. I think they'll lean to Carmichael Hunt at fullback. And yeah, certainly be interesting to see how they can line up against the Waratahs. Another one to watch is Edo Napoli, 108 kilo, former St George Illawarra player. Looks like he'll be named on the wing for the first game for the Reds. He will miss out on a matchup with fellow league convert Reece Robinson, who'll start from the bench for the Waratahs. Waratahs do have a really strong lineup. Former All Black bad boy Zach Guildford starts for them on the wing. Hopefully he can get his name in the headlines for the right reasons this season, and Daryl Gibson can keep him on the straight and narrow. There's certainly some other opportunities there. Matt Carraro starts for the Waratahs, very experienced utility back. And also Ben Robinson on the bench, another surprise there for the Waratahs. Also looking forward to seeing Jed Holloway start up at number 8 for the Waratahs. He looks to be certainly a star of the future. I've got the Waratahs winning that one pretty comfortably. I think the Reds will put up a bit of fight in the first half. I just don't think they'll have 80 minutes of rugby to take on a side with the Waratahs with Phipps, Beale, Falau, and then your Dave Dennis's, Dean Mums, and Tatafu Portanaus, etc. there. So that'd be the Waratahs for me. Next All-Australian derby follows that one, the Force and the Rebels. Very interesting one. The Rebels look to be building towards some positive stuff. The Force missing a few numbers. Nick the Honey Badger Cummins hasn't signed on for this year, so it looks like not only will they be without his strike power on the field, they'll also be without his entertaining post-game interviews, which is lost to the rugby public. Rebels doing this. They've re-signed Colby Fainga on a long-term deal. He'd be a superstar there in the loose forwards. Nick Sturzak looks like he's pushing his claim for a Wallabies berth. Jack Debrasini, a good player at 10 and coming into his own. And you've certainly got some other good players there in English, and Mike Harris at the back. And Mike Harris's goal kicking, I think, will certainly prove the difference in a number of games this year. We've got the Rebels doing this one, getting home probably by a converted try, a little bit more against the Force in Perth. So yeah, I'll certainly see the Rebels pushing on to really give the finals a crack this year, and hopefully be the ones to be the surprise package of 2016. Next up, we've got the Kings, Southern Kings, as they return for the first time since 2013 to Super Rugby, taking on the Sharks. The Kings lineup is pretty devoid of star power or big names that many part-time fans might recognise, and as such I think they're going to really battle this year, and it's certainly not the best first up opponent for them in the Sharks, who've signed really well. As I alluded to before, they've taken Kearney Oosthuizen, Willie LaRue, Joe Peterson all from the Cheetahs, as well as signing Jacques Poitgeter from the Waratahs, who was absolutely destructive at best last year. I just think the Sharks will be way too strong for a number of other South African franchises who are struggling due to the player drain of an extra side. and I think that the South Africans, the Sharks, will be certainly the top side there, and they'll do a job here on the Kings. The final match is the Stormers versus the Bulls. It'll be a very interesting matchup. I think the Stormers will probably get this one done purely due to the fact they've got home ground advantage, and the Bulls are now missing star number 10 and probably the being tagged at the moment as the future of South African rugby, Andre Pollard. He's an absolute superstar, but they'll miss him sorely. They do lack a bit of depth in the midfield without him. It'll be a bumper clash. Both sides are very strong for their forward pack and have some star backs in their own right. However, I think the Stormers will get the job done here thanks to the home ground advantage, as I said, Andre Pollard being MIA. Thanks very much for watching the first of our Super Rugby previews, guys. Good luck with the punt. Good luck with getting behind your own team. Put down in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see added to this or anything taken away from our first episode. And I look forward to coming back and giving you the run through of week 2 next week. Thanks.